Hello, hello, hello. It's Malik, your financial emancipator. So I wanted to do a video today to accompany the podcast that I did, episode 186, which is talking about the woman who, there's an article on people.com where there's a woman who was in a relationship with a man for 8 years and they broke up and he left her with $88,000 worth of debt. Now, y'all know. Y'all listen to me. Y'all listen to the podcast. Y'all are here. Y'all know. I was like, excuse me, what? First of all, there were many excuse me whats, right? It was like, excuse me, what? Her boyfriend of 8 years, her boyfriend. And I said, well, Malik, don't judge. Read further. How did this woman incur $88,000 in debt? I want to know what the debt was for in this relationship. Was there just one instance? Was this a Range Rover? How did this happen? Because it could have just been one expense. And it's like, oh, wow, well, she made one bad decision. So I read further. This was so the whole thing was that this guy was a person who struggled to keep employment. Red flag. He was also someone who liked to have credit. Red flag. He was someone who wanted to spend money but didn't like to make money. Red flag. And he was someone who wanted or was willing to accept those things from a person that which he could not give for himself. Red flag. So he took these things from her that she was willing to give. She wasn't swindled or anything like that. He took these things, she gave these things, and by these things, what she had was she incurred debt she put a car in her name. She got credit cards. He could not get credit in his name without a cosigner. She did credit cards in her name because he couldn't even get the credit cards in his name. She paid $10,000 for his dog to get treatment for something, and the dog ended up dying anyway. Pissed. So it was like, and in this article, again, there was a lot of privilege in this article. This woman who, when she was able to finally get out of this, it took her 3 years. She was in a relationship with this man for 8 years. They broke up, and it took her 3 years to climb out of the debt. Again, she's privileged. She had ways in which she could climb out the debt. She was able to give up her apartment in LA so that she could basically take a job where she traveled 90% of the time, so she kind of lived in hotels. So, she was able to do some things that many people cannot do to get out of $88,000 worth of debt. I wouldn't have been able to sleep with $88,000 worth of debt on my hands that wasn't my debt. So it's like, I'm not even like, oh, I am the person who went to Bloomingdale's and bought all the stuff, so I'm going to deal with the debt. No. And then if I broke up with you, and I'm go with you no more, and I still got to deal with looking at this credit card, knowing it's your debt. And what he told her when they broke up, like, oh, you should just file for bankruptcy. Oh, child. No, and no. Like, no. But the relationship was over, nothing she could do about it, so she had to deal. So this is a cautionary tale for everybody involved in relationships. I am not a person who kind of thinks that it's okay to get into serious financial things with people who you're not married to. I also do not believe in taking on debt for anyone. I will tell you do not co-sign a loan for your mom. Like, if a person cannot get a loan on their own, and I'm talking about an adult, the most I would say is, like, if you got to co-sign something for your kids to go to college, but co-signing, and you got to make sure your kid is serious too, because you don't want to co-sign for nobody who then, like, I don't want to go to, anyway. But I don't believe in co-signing, because that is putting yourself in a financial bind for another person. And if that person and you are not legally bound to each other any old way, and again, I could have many thoughts on how you should or should not put yourself in a bind legally for your husband or wife, but definitely not for someone you're in a relationship with. And I think that it breeds more problems than it solves. Like, if I'm a person who's good with money and I manage my money well, and you're a person who's bad with money and you manage money poorly, and then I get credit in my name for you and you fuck it up, I'm going to be mad. Big mad. Mad like you cheated on me, mad. Okay, and everybody's not like that. I happen to be one of those people that you bother my money and my livelihood and my stability. Whew, we gonna have a problem. So it's just, this story was annoying to me, and then it really kind of doubled up because I watched the Tyler Perry movie. a fall from grace. And I know that everyone's very much up in arms. I happen to not be up in arms. I cracked up. It was a comedy from start to finish for me. I will not spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, but child, I laughed. And when I tell you I laughed because it was funny. I know it wasn't meant to be funny, but I laughed a lot. But there was some key important things in there about how people become very trusting of people who come into their lives and who like really quickly, and then they allow them a little bit too much access to their life, and trust them, and then sometimes those people don't have good intentions and they do bad things to you, they can do harm to you, and all in the name of love. I mean, I think we have to just quit this idea that that things like love or something like love, which is a fleeting emotion. I mean, imagine all the people in your life you've loved and how many of them you don't love right now. And imagine having to be stuck with something or bound to something with those people who you used to love and you don't love no more. I mean, I'm sure that happens to you guys with kids, because I'm sure that you be stuck with the kids from people who you don't love no more. But that's different. You got a kid that you love, right? Not the same as debt. Like, the kid is a responsibility, but they're your kid too, and yeah, you love them. And the big difference with that is, like, you're not stuck. I shouldn't say stuck. You're left with a child that you're gonna be with, but it's still your child. Like, the debt is not yours. So to be left with debt that wasn't yours to begin with, all because you was being generous, like, that's fucked up. And we have to stop doing that. Like, stop acting like love is the cure or love is the thing that we like. No. And I know this sounds harsh, and I know people are going to say, Malik, you're not being, what's wrong with you? Have you never been in love? I have been in love. I have made dumb decisions in love. I have never given up my money in love, but I've made dumb decisions in love. I mean, we all do. Love can change that, but permanent decisions that can impact you in ways like your credit score and your finances, on behalf of someone else who has demonstrated to at least the creditors that they're not a viable candidate or strong candidate. Why would I then, if the credit card people don't want to give you no money and take a chance on you, why the hell should I? Like, I can love you and help you fix up your credit and help you get that kind of stuff together. I could do that. I could love you and be like, you know what? While you going through this transition of getting your finances together, you could come over here. We could ride in my car. Like, we could do that. I'm not putting no credit card in my name for you. I'm not putting my name on no loan for you. I'm not doing that. And I would be okay with saying that to somebody who I just met, somebody who I was in the middle of dating, someone who I loved very, very much. And it's okay, because the bottom line is that's not something that's going to be smart for me financially ongoing in the future. And one of the things I noticed is that in new relationships, people, and a lot of times this happens to men, but people are kind of pushing to impress the other person, and they will do things that they can't afford to impress people. So in the beginning, that new relationship energy, in the beginning, you're dating, you're doing stuff, and he want to take you out to, fancy restaurants. He want to take you to STK when he really can't afford it, or he wants to take you on a trip because your birthday came up and he really can't afford it. And if he ends up doing it on credit, and then it's like you're kind of he may make you feel, you may begin to feel like you're kind of responsible for that debt. You're not, but it's just one of those things where it's like you have to talk about this stuff early. And I just find that we don't do enough of that. And you hear it and you see it in moments like this woman's story. So my take on, I have two takes. One is, do not co-sign for anybody. Point blank, period. I don't care who it is. And watch the Tyler Perry movie. It was funny. It's so bad that it's funny. Like, it's not supposed to be funny, but I laughed the whole time. So watch it. It was insane to me. And let me know what you think. And check out the podcast, episode 186, which is where I kind of go into a little more depth about this topic of the woman with the 88,000 and how she kind of got out of the debt, and how her circumstance was very different than most people's, and how it might be harder for you or I to get out of $88,000 worth of debt that we incurred because of love. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.